All right, a few general things to know about artificial intelligence. Five things, in fact, five things that I think every educator should know about these large language model chatbots that everybody's excited about right now, or worried about, and other artificial intelligence entities that are out there. So I'm going to try to do five things in 5 minutes. So let's get started. First of all, number one, they make things up. This is well known and well documented that truth is a slippery concept for the chatbots, and in fact that makes perfect sense if you understand how they're developed, and their purpose really is not being correct. It's sounding plausible. In other words, plausibility trumps veracity. They're built to just try to string together natural sounding, human sounding text. So if you play around with the chatbot for very long, you'll find that it, for example, can generate a scholarly looking citation to an article that doesn't actually exist. They even have a term for it. It's become so prominent and so well known. They call them hallucinations. Now, personally, I think they should be called confabulations, but we don't have to get into the details of that. If you hear people talking about hallucinations with AI, that's what it is. Number two, they have bias, and it stands to reason. An AI is only as good as the data that it's been trained on. If that data has bias, then the AI will have bias. And if you're just scraping as much information as you can get off of the World Wide Web, what do you think? Of course it's going to be biased. So I want to thank Daniel Strain for suggesting this prompt, which I fed into Midjourney, which is an artificial intelligence that creates art. And the prompt is illustration of nurse, doctor, pilot, and professor. Do you see the bias that's built into this illustration? Let's expand the prompt a little bit. Illustration of nurse, doctor, pilot, and professor with diverse racial representation. So if you didn't see it at first, certainly it should be clear now. We only see racial diversity when we ask for it. Number three, the capitalism behind this is phenomenal. That's more or less a direct quote from a business professor at a meeting I attended. It was meant to be positive. I'm not sure how positive it really is, but it's an undeniable fact that billions of dollars are being thrown around in this arena, and yet the products themselves, many of them, are being offered for free. Now, why would you spend so much money to develop such an expensive product and then give it away for free, unless you're expecting to make a return on that investment later on down the road? But at the same time, I've heard from industry insiders that alternatives, open source platforms, are being developed at an even more rapid pace. So this is something we're going to need to keep our eye on. Speaking of which, number four, things are changing rapidly. I think that's blazingly obvious, but the implications are also, I'm recording this at the end of May 2023. Will this video still be relevant in June? I certainly hope so. Will it be relevant in 2024? I kind of doubt it. I think we're going to have to continually reappraise where we're standing. And that points out the need to have a reliable source of information to keep abreast of changes in this field and try to separate that out from the hype. And there is so much hype flowing around. Number five, final point, you still matter. I want you to stay in the game. Indeed, you as a human teacher still have a role to play, but it seems obvious that that role is changing. Just as these artificial intelligence developments are changing so many things that we take for granted, your role may be changing, but what is it changing into? I look forward to doing that work of reappraising and refiguring things out together with you collectively in the days, weeks, and months ahead. So I hope you found this quick overview of 5 things that you should know about AI to be helpful. Please take a look at some of the other videos that we're publishing that provide a little more detail on these various points.